But yeah,
like high chronology, low chronology. Like, did Christianity start 100 years before, right? Where I think the answer is no, but nonetheless, I think it's plausible and worth considering, right? So like, I take it seriously. Whereas, like, was Christianity a conspiracy of the Roman Empire it was a psyop to control the Jews? It's like, no, that's not even plausible, right? So like, and I can make an evidential case.
So hold on, real quick, just to
we agree.
He just said it's not a psyop to control, a Roman psyop to control the Jews. So that's at will stuff. Let's just be clear, right? Like that's what he's talking about there.
Caesar's Messiah and creating Christ.
And it's clearly worth dismissing because we do not live in international Roman influence. If I question the Roman narrative, I don't get accused of anti-Romanism. We aren't sending Rome $300 billion. Okay. Our president isn't being blackmailed by the Roman Empire. And so I'm not going to investigate a Roman conspiracy when Roman power isn't here. I'm not going to solve that equation when that's not the sum I see in my day-to-day life. Okay.
I'm open to all these possibilities. And so I'm actually quite interested in them. And so I do examine them and take them seriously.
What about flipping that, instead of being that the Romans are trying to use this as a psyop to control Jews, but rather, I've heard this hypothesis, that Jews created Christianity as a psyop in order to control or conquer the Gentiles.
Yeah, it's even less plausible. Really?
It's really? He's surprised.
Yeah.
Derek sounded surprised. You mean the book that talks all about all the Gentiles bowing down to the Jewish God, and the Messiah? And so he writes the top books about how the Jews invented Jesus. And clearly this Messiah is meant to conquer the nations for the God of Israel. So how is it implausible exactly?
How could he say that's even less plausible? Richard, you have the right to say it's not what you think is true, but you cannot say that it is less plausible than Atwill's theory that the Romans created Christianity to subvert Jews. That is just, we can establish that is definitively incorrect. I forgive you, but wow. Because of the opposite reason. Today, if I go into most churches, the standard Christian church, there are priests within the Christian world, a lot of them, this is standard, preaching Zionism, preaching pro-Judaism, after condemning everything else. And if we were to rewind, so that's point A right now. We live in a world where Christianity is irrationally tolerant of Judaism. And throughout history, despite the little aberrations of people trying to wake up out of the spell and trying to raise awareness of the issues of Judaism, the church has been consistently preaching to tolerate them. You could give me a long list of persecution, and I could give you a bigger list of persecution against pagans. European Christians have always treated their fellow Europeans of other faiths so much worse than that it's there's no comparison. You look at a list of to compare the two. What happened to European pagans? They were deracinated, killed, tortured, forced to convert, their artifacts destroyed. Okay, what happened to Jews throughout history? They were given a section of every Christian village and allowed to live among them. It's the only religion Christianity allows. And Christianity is the only religion I can think of that considers another group to be in a way superior to them. I mean, when you read salvation is from the Jews, from Jesus himself in the New Testament, could you imagine another religion praising another religion. And so despite these little aberrations throughout history of people trying, like peasants revolting, every now and then a Christian preacher starts realizing, hey, this doesn't really add up. And, you know, we all know about Martin Luther, where for 20 or so years, he made it his life mission to convert Jews to accept Christ. 20 years. He failed. He didn't get any. And so he starts learning Hebrew, and he reads the Talmud, quickly realizes it's the most vile thing ever written by man. And he starts to alert people and like, oh my God, Judaism is horrible. What happened to him? His message gets buried. His denomination becomes arguably one of the most pro-Judaism denominations in Christianity, and things go on. And all of these little anomalous anti-Judaism Christians get buried by the 99% trend of preaching tolerance. And in some ways, the New Testament it's not even just tolerant of Judaism. The New Testament often makes a distinction, okay? Jesus literally says to his followers, only go to the lost sheep of Israel. Don't go to the Gentiles. Could you imagine another religion doing that? I'd love for someone to find another religion that is actually subservient to another. And so this is plausible, regardless of whether it's how true it is. It is plausible because it's what we see today. Today, we live under Jewish supremacy. We live under that influence, okay? Atwill's theory is insane because Roman power didn't get established internationally, right? And so it is at least plausible. That is not fair, Richard.
Than that, but yeah.
Like